Hey guys, it's snowing outside. I have to keep the doors open to film, and it's fucking freezing. So I'm going to do our standard warm up, and that should keep me warm just before I do the filming of this week's stuff. But I figured I'd film the warm up so you guys can see what it looks like and start doing it yourselves. I'm not going to talk or explain it or anything like that, but you'll see what's going on. So for the next set of videos here, we're going to look at something called Shikko. This is Soari Waza, and this is the closest Aikido get to ground fighting. It's not ground fighting, do not make that mistake. It's a way to move on the ground and do Aikido techniques. Not the same thing as ground fighting. It's not grappling or judo or any of that stuff. It's a way to do Aikido techniques when you're kneeling down. When we train this, we will do it on occasion, and I will try to do it no more than once a month. This is something that's on Aikido curriculums all across the world. Everywhere does it, and that's the only reason we're doing it. Personally, I think this should die a death. I don't think the benefits people claim about this, A, exist, or B, outweigh the negative effect on your body. Okay? So you can practice this, don't do this on a hardwood floor. I'd also suggest you don't do this on carpet, but do this on grass outside if you can, or a beach, or a matted surface like I have here. Don't do it very often. You'll find out why you don't want to do it very often pretty much as soon as you start. Okay? First we're going to look at forwards, then we're going to look at backwards, and then turning. So, forwards first. So first thing about this, guys, is that it's done in the knees. That means you want to get comfortable on your knees in a position called Seiza. Seiza is just a way to kneel down. Here, like so. Fine, sideways on. Most people will sit like this. This is not where you want to be. Or slouched over with their knees together. And this is a very common position that you will see. This is terrible. Do not do this. You need to change pretty much everything about this. The first thing you want to change is having your knees here so that they're more out to the side. With your knees out to the side, that lets your weight sink down. Instead of having it slouched over, straighten yourself up here. So now I'm upright, nice and balanced. Something to note here is that there's space. I'm not sitting on my ankles, I'm not sitting back like this. I'm actually up, I have a lot of movement in this position in my hips. From here, the next position is called Kiza. That's with a K. And that is up one step to this. Again, you've maintained your posture, everything's upright. The difference is you're up on your toes. Still have the same freedom of movement. There's a middle position. I cannot remember the name of it. It might be called Hiza. However, here. Again, Good posture, nice and upright, freedom of motion, ready to go. And then from here, you can rise all the way. You just about feel the top of my shed there. So those are the positions you need to be able to do and to hold. They're really a balance exercise and a practice one. So, Shikko. We start off in Seiza. Here, we come up into Kiza, so we're up on our toes. And we're going to go forward, but you have to keep yourself nice and level, and you're not allowed to stand up. What you will see a lot of the time is this. This is not what you want to do. Or this. You're not an infant, don't do that. From this position, here. Brought my ankle through, brought this through, done. It's really difficult to do this in cotton trousers, by the way. It's much easier in a man-made fabric. There are a lot of different ways to do this. Everyone says their way is right. Not everyone is correct about that. I have seen people do this here. So I've taken a big step and slid forward. I can't do that. I don't recommend you do that either. You'll destroy your knees. Do not do that to yourself. You've only got 2 of them. You'll get away with it until you're about 30 and then you're toast. So here. The trick to this, you want to keep your hips as low as possible. If you ever see Japanese people do this, they look like a fucking hovercraft. It's incredible. Here. You will also see today people doing this with big movements. Watch the old masters, Morihei Ueshiba, Koichi Tohei, Morihiro Saito. Those guys, the original pioneers, all their Sawari Waza movements were here. They were very small, very short. So, now we go backwards. Forwards, you've got that. Backwards. Backwards is a little different. The way I do it, I've seen people do it exactly the reverse of forwards with a massive step, which frankly just pulls your knees apart. So, backwards, I will stay very low. I will keep my legs very close together, and I kind of pivot on the knees. That's how I was taught to do it. So we start over here. Okay, so you have the knees here. You're going to bring the first knee in, pivot, bring the knee back out, like so. So if I'm here, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is very similar to forwards. Smaller movement keeps me lower. I don't have much room here, but you can get the idea of what's going on. So that's forwards. Now you have backwards. I'll take a moment to warm my feet up and tell you some stuff. Yeah. You need to have flexible toes to do this. Mine are fine, but it's 4 degrees Celsius outside because it's snowing a little bit. And it's freezing, well, 4 degrees Celsius, I don't know what it is outside, it's 4 degrees centigrade in here. So my feet are frozen, so I'm trying to warm them up. You will need to be able to do techniques in Sawari Waza and Hanmi Handachi Waza and Tachi Waza. Sawari Waza is you doing the technique to someone else who is also sitting down on their knees. Hanmi Handachi Waza is where you are on your knees and they are standing. and tachiwaza is you are both standing. It's not formally on our curriculum, but anywhere else you go when you graduate or over the summer, you'll be expected to be able to do these things. And so I make it a point to teach them. As I've said, do not do this more than once a month. It's not good for you, it's detrimental to your health, and frankly, in a lot of ways, it's kind of pointless. There are some benefits to it. It teaches you to move your hips a lot more. It can help break the technique into separate parts, which can make it easier to get a hang of what you're doing, but it will reap untold damage to your knees. Go to an Aikido course, a big one, and at the side of the mats you will see dozens of people sitting there with knee braces and going, oh, my knees hurt. This is why. Don't do this more than once a month. As I said, I wouldn't do it at all. The only reason I do it is because I know when you graduate, you'll be expected to know how to do it. So to give you the best chance of getting ahead in Aikido and on your journey, this is something you will need to do. And that's the way, unfortunately, that is. So, feel my toes move again. Time for the last one, turning. This is Irimi Tenkan, the upright motion we've done. It's exactly the same, but on the ground. I'll show you the upright one first. Jog your memory. Irimi Tenkan. 1, 2, 3. You have a video on this? Hopefully that's familiar. Irimi Tenkan, Sawari Waza, very different. Well, it's the same motion, you're just doing your knees more. So we start again in Kiza. Turn. Turn. What's going on? I've started here. I brought this knee in. As I've done it, I'll let this one pivot round. I keep turning, but the weight transfers to the knee that came in. I go there. So, knee forward, turn, weight goes onto that knee, this knee goes out and back. Just like that.